All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of brisket and barbecue, known for long. This is All In Colts, presented by Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. The Colts grinded out a win over the Dolphins to go over 500 for the first time this season and set up a showdown next Sunday in Houston. We will recap the game, including our Mayflower Move and Stars of the game. So, let's go. All in Colts.
Yes, I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam. And we are the Unstable Blues, happy to present All In Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Yeah. We won. A win's a win.
Colts did
only
win.
One injury, that being Jalen Carlisle. He had an ankle injury. So
Yep. I saw it reported as a calf, and then Shane Steichen reported as an ankle. So I'm going to go with the team stuff. Even though originally the team did report hip, but it was oblique on AR. So keep your eye out. Calf, ankle.
something on the leg.
Right. At least it's not an Achilles like Deshaun Watson.
Or an ACL like Brandon Ayuk.
Is it an ACL? Was that confirmed?
It's an ACL tear.
We saw it, and we were like, ooh, yuck. Yuck.
As soon as I saw Deshaun holding his heel, and then I'm like,
did you see the replay then?
I'm like, I don't want to watch this replay, but I'm gonna have to watch it just to be sure. And I saw it pop. I'm like, oh no! It looks like it hurts so bad.
And whenever they grab the back of the ankle, because that's where it pops. That's where
what else is back there that you can hurt where you can't walk?
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a true ankle injury, it's going to hurt on one side or the other. It's not there. So,
Yep.
All right. So let's go through the narrative of this game.
Yep.
Whew. Each team had their own quarterback issues, with Anthony Richardson throwing for 41%. And Tyler Huntley going out of the game with a shoulder injury. It looks like it was pretty dislocated. He was kind of hanging there.
But the focus was on the ground. Hold on. Before we move on, you can never mind. It's harder for – I've played with a dislocated shoulder before. So his must have been a lot worse than mine was.
Well, it was just kind of like dangling.
Yeah.
You know?
To be fair, mine was my left one as well. So,
yeah.
And
you weren't quarterbacking.
That game I was. I was quarterback / running back. That was Garland, the one we came back and won.
Yes. Good game.
It was a really good game.
Yeah.
So I was quarterbacking in that one. I threw a decent amount. I threw a touchdown. But I dislocated my shoulder before the game even started, and I didn't realize because adrenaline and everything. But it's especially whenever it's your right one and it's your thrown arm, definitely not fun. But the focus for this game was on the ground, with a total of 343 combined yards between both teams rushing.
Yep. The Dolphins opened the scoring with a touchdown after a few 3-and-outs.
Yep, the Colts followed with their own 11-play drive, but it ended with a fumble. Guy without a helmet.
Inside the red zone, all you got to do is fall on it. Didn't do it. The teams exchanged field goals at the end of the half, leading to a 10-3 halftime score.
Yep, not looking the greatest. And then Julian forced a fumble, recovered, and run back like a running back with a cut by Segun Olubi. I believe.
Yes, that led to Tyler Goodson's first NFL touchdown.
Yep. Later, with the Dolphins threatening in the red zone, Grant Stewart ripped the ball away from Alec Ingold, and it was recovered by Taven Bryan, who I believe is a replacement for Buckner, right?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the rotated guys in. Yep.
Yes.
After exchanging 3-and-outs, Richardson led the Colts on a 12-play, 69-yard drive where he went 3 for 4 and 39 yards for a Matt Gay field goal.
Yeah, put him at 13-10.
Yep.
After a 3rd-and-1 stop by Brian, Jason Sanders doinked a 50-yard field goal for the Dolphins that would have been a tie.
And it looked like it was going to be in.
Oh, yeah.
It looked like it was good.
Woo.
And then it took a turn and just doink. I was listening to the radio broadcast, and Matt Taylor, shout out Maytay, Colts, said that they could hear the thud from the booth way up top.
Wow.
So the Colts managed another 9-play, 3-minute plus drive that led to the Dolphins using the last of their timeouts and another Matt Gay field goal to force the Dolphins to go the length of the field down 6 with under 2 minutes left.
Yeah. The defense did just enough with the bend don't break style defense to make the necessary stand to secure the victory for the Colts.
Yeah, it was not pretty.
Not at all.
You know what?
But you're going up against a team who looked really good at the beginning of the season. So you take what you get. Your win's a win. It doesn't matter how you get it. Still, all of their games have been one-possession games. Whichever way you slice it, one-possession games.
And, Shane Steichen said after the game, we still haven't played our best football. The Colts still haven't played the best version of football where they put together a complete, well-rounded offensive game, a complete, well-rounded defensive game, and complemented by special teams play. They've had one phase or the other or two kind of come up big in key moments, but they have not played yet their best ball. So,
it's true.
That can be good if you continue to grow and develop and get better, as long as it doesn't go the other direction.
Yep.
Stat sheet time.
Yep.
AR 10 for 14 or 10 for 24.
Yeah, I was about to say 10 for 14 isn't that bad.
No, 10 for 24. He missed 14. 129 yards, no TDs, but no interceptions either.
Yep.
But as pointed out, he did come up big in the big moments when it counted.
Yeah. Huntley and Tim Boyle combined for 15 for 26, 149 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Yep. HN ran for 77 yards, and Mostert added 50.
Yep. Didn't let a single rusher go over 100. Always track that 100 mark.
Yep.
AR led the Colts rushing with 56 on, I believe it was 14 carries.
Yeah, something like that. He definitely went for it. Trey Sermon finished well. Had a rough start early, but finished well with 51 yards. And Tyler Goodson added another 36 on only 8 carries and his touchdown.
Congrats to him. Pittman led the Colts in receiving with 63 yards.
Only on 3 receptions, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Jonnu Smith led the way for the Dolphins with 96 yards and a touchdown.
Yep. And Jordan Poyer had 8 tackles, and Calais Campbell did his best against the run with 5 tackles.
Grant Stewart made the most of his opportunity today with EJ Speed out and then Jalen going down in the middle of the game with 19 tackles, including 11 solo and 1 TFL.
Oh, yeah. Love to see it. Maine getting around everywhere, had a head for the ball. Bah! Getting in there.
We've been asking for this. Now, keep in mind, we've been asking for this offline, right? We haven't said this here. It hasn't been documented, but we've been talking. We've been talking with other people on social media about the Grant Stewart factor and wanting and waiting for him to get his opportunity. And this is exactly why. He plays with a man whose hair is on fire. And when you have that much hair to go on fire, then it's going to be like that. And he played like his hair was Moses in the burning bush, and it just was never going to stop.
Loved it. Zaire Franklin added 16 of his own tackles, and Cross and Julian Blackman each had 9.
Yep. That's some good tackling, Tackling has been an issue for this defense, and so got to get after it. 2 rookies, Jalen Carlisle and Leatu Latu, each had a sack. That makes 2 for Latu on the season.
Yep. The Colts also had 5 quarterback hits and 5 tackles for loss, which is pretty big.
Yep. They got after it. The Dolphins did the same thing. It wasn't reflected in their sacks, but they had plenty of quarterback pressures, I'm sure. I haven't found a site out there that helps me with quarterback pressure rate. So, if you know of one, pass along.
I don't know of one, but I mean, maybe someone in our audience does.
Maybe just comment. I'd love to know.
All right,
we don't put too much stock in PFF.
Yeah,
we just don't.
Yeah. What are your intangibles of this game?
Yeah, I mean the Colts. Here's the thing. The Colts, when you talk about intangibles, right? You have to look at what is tangible and go. The Colts didn't win total yards. They didn't win rush yards. They didn't win time of possession. But what they did win is the turnover battle, which I always talk about. And they won the field goal battle, which you referenced in our preview of this game. I'm sure you'll touch on that. But they put the lid on Tyreek and Waddle. Those guys had 1 catch each for a combined 20 yards.
Yeah.
Which is very good on those guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it came down to situational football. The end of the first half, 22 seconds left. The Colts decided there was still enough time, went down and matched the Dolphins' field goal that they had just made with Matt Gay's first 50-plus yard field goal of the season. They didn't mail it in. They didn't take a knee. 22 seconds. They said, yes, we got this. We got a quarterback with an arm. And even when his first pass went incomplete, they still went down the middle to Pitt and got points on the board because they knew that the Dolphins get the ball in the second half to start. And so you risk that double whammy that we always talk about, where you score right before half and then you score coming out of the half, and all of a sudden you're down 2 possessions. So they did what they needed to do to avoid that double whammy in one way or the other and got on the board before halftime. That gives you, even though it's 3 points, it's still only a 1-score game at that point.
Yeah.
And then the defense shut out the Dolphins in the second half, and they didn't score any more points whatsoever.
Yep. Great job by them.
What about you?
I was going to talk about the turnover battle as well. We won it, which is obviously your point. And then we also did my point. You run the ball and you keep running the ball. AR had 14 rush attempts. That's a lot for a quarterback. Goodson didn't have as many, but Sermon had a lot as well.
Yep.
We just kept running the ball. Even if it was 4 yards, it's still moving closer. You run the ball. Matt Gay, you were my player to watch. That was me challenging you. You did phenomenal. You missed 0 kicks. You did everything that was asked of you. The 54-yarder looked like it would have been good from maybe 60. It looked really good.
And all of them were like
right down the middle. Oh, yeah. Defense way to step up. Only 10 points on Dolphins. Yes. Yes, they have Tyler Huntley or Tyler Boyle or whoever it is. Tim Boyle, yes. Whoever you have at quarterback, you still have a lot of weapons around you that you could use. For a little bit, I was a little bit nervous because Devon Achane started doing his thing, working. Same with Mostert. They kind of clamped down on that, stopped it. There's one play in particular I remember where Jalen Jones is guarding a slant route against Jalen Waddle, and that's kind of Waddle's things. And Jones barely gets in front, no hands or anything on him at all. So it's clearly not a pass interference. He uses his long arms, gets around Jalen Waddle, swats it away. Beautiful coverage. What you love to see out of your second year? Jalen Jones' second year, right?
Yep.
It's what you love to
Seventh
see.
Rounder.
Second year, 7th rounder, number 1 corner. So Kenny also had a really good day. Our corners just played really, really well today. Obviously, Jonnu Smith had a good game. But whenever you have Jalen Waddle and running backs and Tyreek Hill and all these people on your offense, and Jonnu Smith to get the ball, that means you're doing something right? So those are kind of mine.
Yeah. And we've been talking the past few weeks about Sam Womack. Sam Womack been coming on strong. And I'd have to go back and watch some of the film and stuff because and maybe some of the all 22 to see what kind of coverage Sam Womack was in and how many targets Tyreek and Waddle actually got. Because I don't even think they were actually targeted that much, which means my deduction there, it would be the coverage had to have been good. Like if you're not going to get targeted, the coverage must have been good because they didn't throw it that way. And if Jalen Jones was on Waddle, at least with that breakup and a few other times, then it sounds like they went with my suggestion, which would be size for size, put Womack on Tyreek, and Womack shut Tyreek down. All right. Cool. Even on that one end around that they put Reek on, he still wasn't able to get much, ran up behind his blocker and kind of ran out of bounds because there was nothing there. So good pursuit. And to me, that's what was needed, right? The pursuit of the ball, that team tackling, working as a unit. I may talk about that here in a second. What was your Mayflower move of the game? Your game-changing play?
I think this one's kind of obvious. I mean, maybe not because there was a decent amount of turnovers in the game. But it wasn't a turnover. It was the doink field goal.
Okay.
I mean, if you think about it, they get that, then the game's tied up. And then let's say the Colts go down, score a field goal. If you're the Dolphins, you have 2 minutes now to get a field goal, not a touchdown.
Yep.
So you're able to preserve at least one of your timeouts for a necessary time. You're able to just manage the clock completely different. So I think if they make that field goal, that is such a big change in the game. Now, yes, they have 2 minutes to score a field goal to send it into overtime. But they were down in our territory in field goal range with at least enough time to, spike the ball and get a field goal up.
Yeah.
So it was very doable for the Dolphins to do that. Now, the Colts defense would have been completely different as well in that scenario because we're not just prevent touchdown.
But also, I mean, the other point you didn't bring up about that field goal is like, that's a field position thing as well. Like if they make it, they get to kick it off. And now the Colts have the ball at the 30, at the best probably. Depending, of course, they were kicking it short on purpose a lot, to make us run it back, which we've been begging and asking for from Brian Mason, some of these things. But so, 30-yard line, 25, 20. Well, all of a sudden, the Colts end up with the ball at the 42. Is that correct?
Almost midfield, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Like, so in addition to the miss and the points, it's also a field position advantage. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That was just a massive play in my books. And I think the game would be drastically different if he made the kick there.
Yeah, I would agree. I think my Mayflower move would I'm going to give an honorable mention before I give mine.
Okay.
I had a couple, but no. Hold on. I'm thinking through how I want to dish out this stuff. Okay. Honorable mention to the Grant Stewart fumble, the second fumble, but to me, the Mayflower move is the run after the first fumble.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to give it to.
Okay.
The whole sequence
like
there, because it seemed at that point, this is, midway through the third quarter, something like that, early-ish in the third quarter, the Colts hadn't really done a whole lot. Seemed to kind of have their backs up against it. Still 10-3 after half. Nothing really seems to be clicking either side, but still down a touchdown is a bigger deal than down a field goal or whatever. And then this happens.
Presence around the globe. Of course, we saw football in London earlier today. Jaguars got the win as the ball pops out at the end of the run, and it's recovered by the Colts. Shegu Alubi takes it to the 40-yard line. Still looking for running room inside the 30, and the Colts.
It was a great stutter, honestly. Like, me as a running back seeing that, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, you're
exactly,
a big man.
It
so
was
the
exactly
stutter,
my thought. Whenever I saw it happen, I was like, okay, first of all, he punched it out himself and then picked it up. And then, like, early, like, they kind of paused and, like, the Dolphins probably thought it was over. Colts kept going. But as soon as he made that cut with pursuers, I went, that linebacker's auditioning to be a fullback, running back. He's looking to, like, be Alec Ingold on the other side of the ball,
Yeah.
Like, that cut made me, ooh.
Also,
like, that
what
was
I
pretty
noticed
wicked.
about this, especially fumbles, the Colts tend to not give up on plays as easily as other teams do. So the Colts will punch it out and, like, okay, we don't hear a whistle, or we maybe heard a whistle. We're going to pick the ball up and go anyways. Like, what that reminds me of last year in, I don't know where was it, in Houston?
You're talking about the Buck.
Yeah. Yeah, where
Touchdown.
Zaire punched it out, Buck pick it up, and
that was the first game in Indianapolis against Jacksonville last year. First game of the year last year.
That's right. But I mean, our defense doesn't give up on that type of stuff. I mean, interceptions is different, but, like, specifically fumbles, we will knock the ball out if there's like a 5% chance that we didn't hear the whistle, we'll knock the ball out and go. Like, and then obviously the refs are going to be like, okay, we're not going to call this dead just so that we can review it, because every turnover is reviewable. So,
yep.
I mean,
just
don't give up.
The forced fumble, but the return set up the only Colts touchdown of the game.
Mm-hmm.
The only Colts touchdown of the game, and to even up the score, start the comeback, and so the Mayflower move, the game-changing move, to me, is what starts it.
Yeah,
that's what turned the momentum in my book.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your star of the game then?
Before I name my actual star, I have an honorable mention.
All right.
Matt Gay, because he stepped up to the challenge. He stepped up to the plate, hit a home run, did everything I asked him to, which now I'm going to put the question
now,
to.
As a kicker with soccer background, probably, you got to think he just hit a hat trick.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah, a hat trick.
But little off-topic thing here.
Okay.
I didn't go to college game day because I would have had to wake up at like 4 a.m. I don't want to do that. I wanted.
The dude missed it twice.
Twice. Man, I should.
He's a medical student too.
Oh, well,
you could have
same boat.
Yeah.
Which man, now I have two things real quick. Okay, first thing, you hear about Arizona State?
Yes.
The coach.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
We're looking for anyone who can kick. Come out and try out.
Email me.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not joking. Open tryouts.
Yeah. Okay, but the thing I originally was talking about, College Game Day is going to Bloomington.
Yep.
Indiana, one of two undefeated teams left. Army, I think it's Army being the other. So huge props to Indiana for doing that.
There was a point in the Indiana football game against Nebraska. I want to get the guy's name right. Gus Edwards, that's right. Okay. Gus Edwards was on the call. Typically a basketball guy, but football on this broadcast has done plenty of IU basketball games, all this kind of stuff. And there was a point, one of the plays that I think it was interception run back or something like that. And after the play, Gus just went, "Woo! America! The word is out. Indiana's got a football team, and they are good."
Yep.
Like this, like some of those most legendary calls are like when like the announcers get caught way off guard, and like so it was pretty just when the announcer goes, "Woo!" like something's up. So
but I can't wait. Bloomington College Game Day, love it.
Yeah, but your real start of the game.
I'm gonna pose a question to you before this.
Okay.
About Matt Gay. Is faith restored?
Well, I mean, my faith isn't restored in Gus Bradley over one game or even two games in a row. So, I mean, I will say I'm much more greatly encouraged because they were all straight down the gut. That certainly helps. And
with
one of them was over 50. So I don't want to say we're all the way back. I still want Spencer Strader to not move out of Indianapolis, and I don't want him to get picked up by anybody else just in case.
Mm-hmm.
But we're on the right track. We're trending in the right direction.
Yep.
Are you ready to dish out your real star?
A real star of the game, none other than Mr. Maine himself, Grant Stewart. I mean, who else do you give it to? Like, offense on both sides of the ball just wasn't really there. I mean, you could maybe give it to AR because of his rush yards, but his passing yards wasn't there for a quarterback, so it's kind of like, not really. And then you flip to the defensive side of the ball, you're like, a lot of people could get it here because Zaire had 16 of his own. He was kind of a presence. Jalen Jones had an amazing game. Kenny, Sam Womack, all these people, safeties as well. But Grant Stewart had 19 tackles and a forced fumble. What a day for the guy's first actual NFL start, I believe. And not a preseason game, an actual NFL game. First start, what a day he can have. Maybe he can step up in a bigger position now that, the Colts are finally like, oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. So.
Yeah, I told you I'd reference this later. I'm with you. He's 100% the star of the game. There was no question, no argument for me. A lot of times I do something different. Even if you do, like I'll do something different. There is no question in my mind. Grant Stewart, star of the game. Absolutely. Even better that we get to give a star of the game to somebody who is from the Lone Star State with an amazing story of how Jesus transformed his life. Go check out, I think it's Zach Kiefer's article from The Athletic. Absolutely incredible story of how he grew up and overcame a ton. So our great honor to give our star of the game, both of us, to Grant Stewart and his great day. Speaking of which, here is Coach Shane Steichen and what he had to say after the game.
That Grant Stewart game, it's hard to imagine what we just watched, really.
Yeah, it's great. Shout out to him. Obviously going and having EJ down this game. He stepped up big time. Shea Goose stepped up, but he made a whole bunch of plays. I don't know how many tackles he ended up with, but he's a guy that just shows up every day to work and works his tail off, and he got his opportunity today and made the most of it, so it was awesome to see him.
Yeah. It'd be so cool to have him on for an interview sometime. That'd be awesome.
I know that we'd love that. So, Grant, if you're available, we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
So I do have some honorable mentions though. Shagu, of course, with the run back. Kenny, because he was my player to watch, and he did come up big. I think there was a lot of things that don't show up on the stat sheet that I talked about middle of the field kind of stuff, even though Jonnu Smith had a big day.
Intangibles, stuff like that.
Yeah, that were big for him. Even had a QB pressure as well. And then also, I'd like to give a honorable mention star of the game to head coach Shane Steichen, as I believe he has made a transition from being an offensive coordinator into being a head coach. Take a listen to this cut up of his post-game presser.
That I got to be better for our offense. Obviously, we want to be better. It starts with myself offensively. I didn't do a good enough job for these guys today. It was on me. I didn't do a good enough job offensively. I got to do better for these guys going forward. That I got to do better. I got to put them in better positions. I got to be better. I got to be better. That's on me. I got to be better. Play better. I got to coach better on offense and help the guys out. I got to do a better job putting them in position.
I got to do better.
When you are in a position of leadership, the buck stops with you. And if something goes wrong, it's your fault. This is one thing that Peyton Manning always did amazing at, especially, in his post-game press conferences. But as a leader, if something goes right, congratulations to the team. If something goes wrong, that's my fault. That's what a great leader does. And I believe that he has made a huge step in his transition into that. I don't know if he's all the way there. Time will tell. But to me, as I was listening through that, I was like, he's on something there. He's on the right track. So
I saw there's something on Instagram about a post about like potential for head coaches and stuff. And it was like different. It was like the ones that has different tiers and stuff. And Andy Reid, obviously at the top. D'Amico Ryans is also at the top, just because of what he showed in his first year. Yep. Kyle Shanahan, Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh, all these coaches, right? And then right below them in the tier below was Shane Steichen. I think Matt LaFleur was there. I think Kevin O'Connell was there as well. So, just getting matched up with those people. Great for Shane.
Yep. Well, that's it for today. We will be back tomorrow with our update from the South, look around the AFC South. Later this week, we will have our Unstable Pick 6 Fantasy Stable, where we look at Colts players and fantasy stats, and our preview of the Colts coming to Houston.
Yep, this is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.